regular dudes.
What?
Stuff. Get your popcorn ready.
Hello. Yeah? I'm here for the gangbang.
Welcome back to Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. I am Jamie G. Esquire the Fifth, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret. My legal strategy is to act like an idiot while being surprisingly good at paperwork. Say what you will, but I made a career out of it. I'm here working my side gig with the Soup Deuce and the Magnum Mills. Soup, I'm here to talk about old school. Why are you here?
Oh man, I was gonna go streaking through the quad, but I guess I'll just start talking about old school with you guys.
Fair enough. You don't have the mustache or the glasses to do anything else. And before I introduce myself, we first have to give a shout out to our sponsor in limerick form, because why not? The jokes are quite witty. The ladies are quite pretty. I truly do feel if you want a great deal, shop at Speaker City. I'm Magna Mills. It is okay to be honest and tell us if it's your first time checking out the show. If you want us to be honest, first time, drop the thing in there. Honestly, this is Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. Thank you very much for checking us out. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, on social media at Dudes Watch Stuff. Same place on the web, dudeswatchstuff.com. We try to keep it easy to remember, just like the flaps. FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you do it, you are the best. I'm not going to go full cheerleader because, unlike some people in this movie, I am not still in high school.
No, he is not. Before we fill up the kiddie pool in the basement, something needs filling. We got to fill something else. And it's the holes in this house. Soup, what have you been filling your holes with since our last episode?
Well, I filled a couple holes and it's been random. I had to really squeeze them in there, man. The first one, throwback and old school, man. Randomly caught it on my flipping through, and I was like, man, I'm gonna go ahead and watch this late night one night. Monty Python's Holy Grail, dude. Because why not? You can always throw that on. It was a good rewatch. It's been a minute since I've seen it, and I've seen it kind of a lot of times, but it did the trick for that particular night, man. So those of you that haven't seen it, check it out. If you have, then give it a relook, man. It was worth it.
One of the most rewatchable movies ever, probably. And I keep hoping that if we ever get the pre-1980 joint on the next time on wheel, Monty Python is one of my go-tos for that right up there. So yeah, like if we ever get that, guaranteed, I would say one of us is going to pitch it. It's always a good time. There's so many, it's so memeable too. I'm surprised that there aren't, a Tisbut and Flesh Wound. There's so many things you can use. He's not quite dead yet. There's so many good ones now that, it should be bigger than it is. I think that's an excellent one. Jamie G, how about yourself? What have you been filling?
Yeah, man, been filling a couple holes here. Been doing some online poker talk, been taking a class. Really like this combination of stuff from some of the greats, Phil Ivey, Daniel Negreanu, a bunch of the greats, Helmworth, like just a good combination of like professionals that have played at a high level, breaking down some of the intricacies around tournament versus cash game, small stakes, like big tournament versus small tournament. It's just kind of cool to hear the different strategies. Been really enjoying that, gearing up, hoping to make my way to Vegas for the World Series of Poker. Your boy still's got 2 games to go. Hopefully he makes final table in both. Outside of that, Mills, I've just been on this thing. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like my garden's in bloom and I'm like doing shit outside, but I've been just like having a nice little Saturday. I've been watching shows about like things to do in your home, like planning activities in the garage, like, hey, we're gonna do this chore. A lot of gardening. There's been time. That's what I've been up to.
Gardens have holes. I mean, wallets are holes, and everyone fills them differently. Not all holes are created equal. First, I want to say I did finish up The Veil. That was FX Hulu joint with Elizabeth Moss from Stephen Knight, our boy from Peaky Blinders. It was very disappointing. Josh Charles too. I remember talking about him on Amy Schumer. He's been in a bunch of stuff over the years. Generally like him. It was a big miss for me. They tried the rare miss from Hulu FX, so it is what it is. If you want to check it out, it's only 6 episodes, but yeah, burn through it in a random weekend or something. You don't need to really care about it. Did care about the season finale of Hacks from HBO. Got picked up for season 4. Enjoyed it very much. Thought it was at least on par with the first 2 seasons. Enjoyed that. So looking forward to more of that. And I think the Soup and I are we have something in common we've been checking out. Soup, do you have something else you've been checking out?
Yeah, if we're going down that road, man, I was fortunate enough to watch the first 2 episodes of season 3 of the new Shoresy. Able to check out the first two, and pretty happy with how that's going so far, man. And so that was an enjoyable early watch. Looking forward to checking out the next one, which I think is out there on that platform right now. So hopefully the next day or two I'll be able to check that one out as well. And bouncing back to you, you're a kind of a newcomer to the whole Shoresy world, so you banged them all out here recently, man. What did you think?
I really enjoyed it. In a great weekend show. These are seasons of 6 episodes, literally 20 minutes a piece with the credits and everything. So really nice to just bang them out. The hockey scenes are a lot better than I thought they were as far as the way they're filmed and the quality. The writing is a lot better than I thought it'd be. There's obviously some good improv stuff, but it's also a lot of good running gags and stuff that comes back around. They don't really hit you on the head with the plot lines. The character actors are great. There is some French, so there's a little bit of subtitling and some Canadian accents, which actually kind of is cool because you can go back around and pick up on some stuff that you missed the first time. I think everybody in it is doing good work. It looks cool. It's well written. The dude who plays Shorts, that drives the show, willing to be the butt of the joke. He'll do whatever it takes to get it done, just like Shorzy on the ice. And it's got a lot of heart. It is a sports show and heart. It really is. And it's not like an underdog story. It's, in a sport, it's like we don't ever want to lose again. It's about a dude who just refuses to lose. And that is very cool. They do it in a way that's not cheesy. I thought it could be. And again, just really well written. Very surprised with it. Very enjoyable. The first 2 seasons are on FX, Hulu. And again, you can watch it all in 2 hours. Well, a little 4 hours, the first 2 seasons, but easy show to breeze through on a weekend. Very good. Very enjoyable for that. Anybody else been picking up anything that they've been putting down in their holes to fill them up?
Yeah, I'm just about finished. I got the season finale, season 5 of Fargo. This has been a really good season. Enjoyed. It's been probably my favorite season outside of season 1, and I will continue to. They're doing the show a disservice by putting the disclaimer on that it's based on a true story. It's not. They shouldn't. It doesn't need it. It's a cheap trick. But season 5's been great. Really excited to see how this finishes out and where Dorothy ends up. So yeah, shout out Fargo. Good job there.
You subscribe to the odd seasons of Fargo or good theory, like 1, 3, 5. I did like 2. 4 was probably my least favorite, but it was the most different of the group. What do you think? Is it an odd seasons of Fargo the way to go?
Yeah, I think so. 1, 3, and 5 are the best. 2 was okay. 2 was good, not great.
2 and 4 were
One,
the most different, definitely. I mean,
yes.
without getting into minor spoilers, yeah, just quite a bit different creatively. And the other 3 kind of feel like they feel like more like they're part of the same story, which is the idea. Like you said, it's an anthology. It's not based on a real story, but these are all supposed to be happening in the same universe. And the first season tied that more into the original Fargo movie than the others, but still definitely enjoyable. If you haven't checked it out, watch season 5. And if they come out with a season 6, I would check it out.
I too have one more hole that I filled up, man. That's notable anyway, and this one did require a little bit of lube. Different kind of hole too, man. So at the end of the night, after the main hustle and bustle of dinner service, and when things start calming down, it's when I usually try to throw on like some kind of playlist, because you got to set the tone for the end of the night. You got to start cleaning up and everything like that. And I couldn't figure out something, that I wanted to. There was nothing. Sometimes it was like, man, there's nothing I really want to listen to or feel like listening to get me out of the or into that mood. And for whatever reason, I fell across this is Warren G. So Warren G Radio, and it was surprisingly good and enjoyable, man. And it definitely set the tone for the rest of the evening. And you know, I heard something that I hadn't heard in a long time, and then I heard something that I had never heard before, but it went well, and it was exactly what you know what we needed for the end
Quarantine's
of the
first
night
album
there.
is fun. It's a nice
So
kind
yeah,
of
it was fun.
lighter. It's a little gangster, but not too much. But it's got some of that Dre influence stuff. It's a nice vibe album.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, it
it's
was
very
good,
solid.
man.
Throw it on like this DJ. It's got some fun
This
stuff that.
JB Warren G, dude.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. That just because he started out as a DJ and everything, so that's actually a very solid call. I suppose if you work in a restaurant or bar somewhere, if you actually try to play Closing Time by Semisonic at the end of the night, they kill you when you walk out the door, right? Isn't that how that works?
What's funny is that the bartender, a couple of the bartenders will play that song if there's people
Oh,
in
I've
there.
I've heard people yell at
Yeah.
me before, like it's play Closing Time. Like,
Yep.
it's like no stairway, dude. No
Denied.
stairway.
I hear the Quad City DJs, so get off the tracks because the train is coming through. This is the hype train, baby. Mills, what's coming out soon that you are hyped about?
JBG, I hear something. But it's not the Quad City DJs. Is that Axel F? Dude, we're almost here. Beverly Hills Cop 4. It's actually technically titled Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. Comes out July 3rd on Netflix. We have the full trailer out. Tons of original characters are returning. Got Joseph Gordon-Levitt in the mix. Always enjoy him. And let's be honest, you couldn't have picked a better time to break the Lions jacket back out, right? The Lions are doing really good right now. Seriously, did enjoy the trailer. If I had any complaint, it's that it maybe showed too much. It does look like Eddie Murphy is in decent form here. Some of the action set pieces look good. I'm a little bit worried the director's main credits are mostly shorts. He did get a start directing a Johnny Walker commercial. So I think that qualifies him to do a Beverly Hills Cop movie. I think he gets it if he did a solid Johnny Walker commercial, but whatever. I'm hyped for it either way. And if you're already subscribing to Netflix, won't cost you anything. Definitely recommend checking it out. Pretty hyped for it. I've been waiting for this one for literally, I don't want to say almost 3 decades, but a long goddamn time. So
I've only got one question. I have not seen the trailer yet. I'll have to check it out as soon as I get a chance, probably later today. But the question that I've been wondering since I heard this movie was happening, you know, moons and moons ago, did it get the fucking rated R?
oh yes, it's definitely gonna be rated R.
Because that would have been a
The
major
trailer
thing.
was even red band. I feel like
I didn't want them to go
even a little bit of cursing in there. Yeah, it's definitely not going. They never did. All 3 of the Beverly Hills Cops previously were R. So
Yeah, that's why you need. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, they're sticking to it.
Solid
Yeah.
R.
This is it's a comeback for Eddie Murphy here. Eddie Murphy somehow is like 62, looking pretty good though.
Nice.
Well, Mills, you got me hyped, buddy. I'm pumped for it. One thing that jumped out to me here, man, is there's a new Batman Caped Crusader coming out. It's an animated series, but to me, that's okay. I like all ways Batman universe lives, and being able to be a part of it and seeing it just kind of continuously is awesome to me. I hate the gaps in between good Batmans, and so I'm excited about this one. Got for what it's worth, definitely got some big heavy hitters behind it. I mean, Matt Reeves, J.J. Abrams, and Bruce Timm. You gotta love a Tim with 2 M's, dude. I'm pretty pumped about it.
And that's the Bruce Timm who did the original Batman the animated series back in the early 90s that we know from our childhood. That same guy, kind of putting him in there. Matt Reeves is the guy who did the Robert Pattinson Batman movie that I think we all liked that came out a couple of years ago. So very excited for that. I think animated Batman is maybe my favorite Batman, especially that, Batman the animated series with Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill. That was always awesome for me. Soup, what are you hyped for?
I'm not gonna lie, and this might be a little bit weird for me, but I'm kind of looking forward to the new Twisters movie, man. I did see the trailer to that. It looks pretty good as far as the effects and whatnot. I mean, and I did like the first one. I did like Twister, and I don't think these two movies are going to be related in any way. I don't know, but maybe there might be some kind of
I
like
don't think they need to be.
dialogue. I don't think it needs to be either. It looks like it's going to be pretty cool. I like the potential there, and for me, that's an interesting thing because I've never been in a tornado. I've never seen a tornado, you know. But they scare the shit out of me because I have reoccurring dreams about tornadoes.
I mean, have you ever had to shelter for a tornado? I definitely have had to shelter for a tornado, and it's definitely not fun.
No shit.
If you don't have a basement, it's cram yourself into your smallest bathroom with your pets and everyone there. It is not the greatest time. And yeah, tornadoes are really crazy, dude. With hurricanes, I know you have some experience with that. So
I get yeah,
Now
yeah, definitely.
hurricanes cause tornadoes, and then they come together, and then yeah, it's weather is getting kind of shitty. Get Roland Emmerich to make another movie about that. Too bad. R.I.P. Bill Paxton.
I'm excited about season two. Lord of the Rings coming out, The Rings of Power. It'll be on Prime August 29th. First three episodes drop at once. Then you get kind of one per week the next 5 weeks. So should be a nice 6 week process here to work through this. The show's just done so well. It looks great. Excited to see this kind of continue. Again, I don't love the universe. If there's hardcore heads out there that disagree, that's cool. Respect your opinion or whatever, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Looking forward to see what they do with season two.
Spent a lot of money on it. You could definitely tell. And think about it. At least they were smart enough to not drop it in June. So they have that going for them, which is at least something. They're not trying to compete with all the other major shows. Like, bully for them for that. Good for you. That was the right move.
Good for them. And before we go streaking, we need to connect us dudes to the dude with the 6 degrees of Lebowski. Mills, please get us to the Big Lebowski via old school.
All right, I'm going to go somewhere, but it might not be where you think I'm going to go with it to make it simple. In Old School, Artie Lang plays Booker. In Dirty Work, Artie Lang played Sam, while Jack Warden played Pops. In Things to Do in Denver, When You're Dead, Jack Warden played Joe Heth, while Steve Buscemi played Mr. Shh. And Steve Buscemi is Donnie.
And I swear, if I don't specifically tell you not to use Donnie, that is right where you go. How about you link us back to the Big Lebowski without using one of the big three? Let's see if you got this. No Walter, no Donnie, no dude.
No problem. In Old School, Jeremy Piven plays Pritchard. In The Kingdom, Jeremy Piven played Damon Schmidt, while Jennifer Garner played Janet Mays. In season 5, episode 1 of Alias, Prophet 5, Jennifer Garner starred as Sydney Bristow. James Lehman guest starred as Leon Russom. And in The Big Lebowski, James Lehman plays the Malibu police chief. How about that?
Damn.
Damn, that wasn't half bad, Mills. I'll give you that. But all right, why don't you try one with Will Ferrell once again without using Steve Buscemi?
Despite the no Donnie rule, I think y'all will like this one. In Old School, Will Ferrell plays Frank. In Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, Will Ferrell plays Mustafa, while Sidney Margolis plays a fembot. In Chairman of the Board, Sidney Margolis plays a tennis instructor, and Carrot Top plays Edison. In Sharknado 5, The Fourth Awakens, Carrot Top played a driver, while Tara Reid played April Wexler. And Tara Reid is Bunny Lebowski, her of the green toenails.
Wow. Let me go find a cash machine, man.
Dude, listen, going with Cindy Margolis and Carrot Top was absolutely great. But using a Sharknado, using a Sharknado movie, that feels like cheating all the way. Why don't you give us one more using Artie Lang without using Howard Stern or Dirty Work?
You're always hating on Dirty Work, and honestly, I could have gone there before because John Goodman was actually in Dirty Work, but it was uncredited, so fair enough. And for the record, there was a better version of this, but it worked in Escape from LA, which you would like, but that would have been Donnie, so I found it all. Don't worry. In Old School, Artie Lang plays Booker. In Boat Trip, Artie Lang plays Brian, while Victoria Silvstedt plays Inga. In Basketball, Victoria Silvstedt appeared as Playboy model Victoria Silvstedt, and Dan Bachar starred as Squeak Scolari. In The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, Dion Bachar played RBTV studio technician, and John Goodman played Oklahoma cop, and John Goodman is Walter. I got you a Squeak. I got you a Victoria Silvstedt. Feel like I got there.
Nice.
Whoa.
Well played, man.
Before Snoop Dogg begins his set, we need to know just what in the hell we're doing and who's coming with us. Mills, give us the details.
Jamie G. This is Old School, directed by Todd Phillips, written by Todd Phillips and Scott Armstrong, produced by Court Crandall, Todd Phillips, and Scott Armstrong, cinematographer Mark Irvin, edited by Michael Chablow, music by Theodore Shapiro, originally released February 21st, 2003, had a budget of 24 million, upon which it made 87.1 million at the United States box office, starring Luke Wilson, Will Ferrell, Vince Vaughn, and Jeremy Piven. Short plot synopsis is: after a man finds his wife cheating on him, he goes back to basics, which somehow involves starting his own fraternity. And in that fraternity, not only does he find brothers, he finds a path forward in life.
Real quick, this is a full-on spoiler discussion of Old School, man. So that means we could possibly be talking about movies such as Animal House or other college movies, also other Will Ferrell movies, maybe even Vince Vaughn movies. I wouldn't say would be out of play, man. And Luke Wilson movies are probably on the table too. So anyway, that's it. Don't say we didn't warn you.
I'm gonna open things up by reminding everyone why I wanted to talk about Old School. Guys, I don't know about you, but this movie represents everything I cherish about aging and entering 40s and late 40s. You need this, man. You need this, and you need a version of it in your life. Obviously, it doesn't have to be this extreme, but anybody like this is so relatable, dude. Like it's awesome. The way they do it's very cool. All three of all three of the main actors kill here, and then every single side character is great, and including the kind of one-off experiences with some of the other guys, the dart scene and others. I mean, it's a huge win. It's so funny. And honestly, I wish comedy would go back to taking chances like this because it's awesome and it worked. And I don't know why we got away from it. But yeah, this was everything I thought it was. I'm so glad we did this. Excited to talk about it. And dude, shout out Old School. This was a work of art, man.
Dude, I went into this knowing that it was gonna be an enjoyable watch, and at first I was like, "Well, I've seen Old School a bunch of times, man," so I almost was like, "It'll be good, but will it be as entertaining as I wanted to?" I had my questions on whether it would live up to what it used to be for me. It's been a long time since I'd seen it, so I think that might have helped out, but I was glad that, the rewatch really worked well for me, man. There was a lot of things I didn't remember. There was a lot of things I did remember and just some small detail, like, around them that I didn't, so it was nice to kind of fill in the gaps there, and, there were certain things, like, especially towards, the things over the end credits, I totally forgot were there too, and then, there was some other little various whatnots throughout the movie that I'd completely forgotten about, so I was glad to have rewatched it, man, and it definitely I still got a couple laugh out louds out of it, even though sometimes I knew it was coming, so, I mean, it's that kind of movie though, man, it's a classic, it's a legend, so
Yeah, I
good
agree with
call.
that completely, really. I mean, because it's not one that is been out, it's not on a streaming service, really. I think it's on Paramount Plus right now. So it's not that one that just falls in your rotation. A lot of times I watch stuff based on just added or leaving the service.
Right.
So just something that kind of pops up or is recommended to me. So I hadn't seen this one in a minute. And I would say that looking back on it, it's maybe a little bit like I can see more all of the other stuff from movies it's taking. But also, Ivan Reitman was a producer and he helped the guys like form the script. So you can't really yell at Animal House when the director is of Animal House is trying to help him out with it and trying to kind of do a different take on it. And I think they did find a different take. I think especially they used the soundtrack well. Will Ferrell's better than I remember. I was not like a huge Will Ferrell guy at first. It really took me a minute to kind of come around to him. And this is, like you said, a couple of laugh out loud moments, just legitimate. You can't help yourself. The smaller moments, like the joint where he's trying to leave a cell phone message for his estranged wife, and he keeps like no, and he keeps starting over again. That's such a random, specific joke to that period in time, but he plays it off so well. Will Ferrell definitely carries it. There's some some underrated heroes here that keep it going. Nice supporting cast, all that kind of thing. But you are right. It holds up really well. And I didn't think it was my favorite movie ever when I saw it, but I enjoyed it very much. And just like now, yeah, it's not my favorite movie ever, but I still enjoyed it very much.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here. I mean, Old School, as Mill said, it is basically almost like an Animal House with 30-year-olds. It doesn't quite get to that level. Now that we've had 20 plus years to reflect on this, do you still regard Old School as one of the best college comedies?
looking back at this, I think this and PCU are right on the same level. Which do you prefer? I think for me, it's probably PCU slightly, but that's probably definitely a bit of nostalgia. What do you think, Soup? Obviously, I don't think this makes it up to Animal House level. Is this as good or better than PCU?
It's close, man. It's close. It's hard to decide which one is better. PCU is definitely more. I don't know. I think the main reason I find the relation between the two is maybe because of Piven, although completely different characters. You know, what I mean, he's actually, I mean, he's like the villain, the dick, in old school, but he's like, the hero or whatever in PCU. Aside from that, yeah, I think similar in certain ways. I think PCU has deeper like college, situations and shit going on, obviously, than this one does. It kind of really stays off of that. It's more about just them and the fact of their setting, where their setting is happens to be on a college, and so they make the fraternity and stuff. But I mean, as far as which one's better, it's hard to say. I mean, I like old school better because it's got the solid rated R and there's some hardcore shit in there here and there, but PCU is a close right there. So I
Well,
don't
in the
even know.
same tier, kind of, right? Like
Yeah,
just
in the
like
same tier.
a solid, probably second tierish. What do you think, JBG? Old school compared to PCU? I mean, I'm not again not putting up there with like Van Wilder or Accepted or kind of any of those other comedies about college that came out in this range, but I think PCU holds a place near and dear to our hearts, so that's kind of why I bring that one up.
100%. We're talking about like the elite Mount Rushmore of college comedies. I'd love to be able to do Back to School just to
I
see
was gonna
how it
say Back to School.
stacks
That was
up.
my next
But
one. If we were going to compare it to an older one, it was
All
Back
right,
to
Dead Man
School.
on
So
Campus is pretty good.
yeah, Dead Man on
there's a
Campus is
couple.
underrated. Definitely, it's a good genre. I think.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple here. But for me, I'm gonna put old school above PCU. A lot more laugh out loud moments. It's just funnier. PCU is more relatable if to like your actual college years, like when you were there or when you were pledging or whatever. Whereas I think old school is more relatable to anyone that's been through college and then had to grow up and still misses being what they were maybe in their college years. And I
Yeah.
just think that's really cool. And I think it's special because all of us and a lot of we're at that age now where we could be old school. We're actually would be
Well,
old.
they were in their
We'd be
30s, so
older
now
school.
I think that looking back on it would have been the way to do a sequel, right? Every 10 years, they kind of like be like nostalgic. They got to come back again. So this one was in the 30s. The sequel will be the 40s. Third sequel will be their 50s. That kind of thing. I think that kind of like Clerks. They did the sequels about a decade apart. I think
Yeah.
something like that might be fun. Maybe.
That would be really cool. So for me, Mills, not to put down PCU because I really like it, but I put old school ahead of it. And honestly, I put old school ahead of Animal House too. To me again, it's all about relatability. Nothing against Animal House, absolute classic, Blue Sheet, legendary, all that. But for me, I think old school's up there with that. Again, more laugh out loud moments, and just the fact that it's newer looks better and is the jokes kind of old
But see,
school.
fair enough.
Old
You
school's
never
new
actually
and
like
Animal
pledged
House
a
old.
fraternity where one of the things you did in a lock-in was watch Animal House with your fraternity pledge brothers and stuff like that. So I have a little bit maybe of a different insight, but yeah, to each their own. Totally understandable. Animal House was made in the 70s. It is a little bit of a different kind of flag.
A lot of people regard old school as some sort of a coming out party for Will Ferrell, as we talked about. He gets some of the biggest laughs in the movie, but we also get a ton of characters who only appear in a scene or two and just absolutely kill it. In honor of Mitch, the Godfather, we did some friends of the family rankings. Mills, explain the process. And to be clear, I mean our process regarding friends and family. People have to subscribe to your Patreon if they want to hear you talk about the process of the Philadelphia 76ers.
And please like and subscribe, especially if you want to hear me spend 37 hours talking myself into trading for Jimmy Butler and then giving him a max contract, even though it'll take him into his late 30s. Whatever. What we're doing here is we ranked everyone who wasn't one of the big three or Dean Pritchard. Only criteria was how much we enjoyed them. We're just going to hit the high notes here. I want to say, shout out, we all had Mark at the bottom. So Craig Kilborn, still probably not happening for you. I think Todd Phillips, we all enjoyed your cameo as the gangbang guy, but you only had one line. So we were all kind of low on you. We were all kind of mixed on the rappers. I was definitely mad because Cocaine was there to be the dime store Nate Dogg, and he couldn't even do that because they definitely smoked too much or drank too much, so he couldn't sing at all. Did enjoy Bishop Magic Don Juan there doing his whole thing. Snoop was obviously pretty great. And shout out Terry O'Quinn from Lost. A lot of people know him. Great character actor, played Mitch's boss here, Darcy's dad. We were all basically in the same area on that, surprisingly. Jamie G 12, me and Sue both had him at 13. Breaking into the top 10, we had a three-way tie at number 9 between Darcy, played by Elisha Cuthbert, Booker, played by Artie Lang, and the Dan Band as themselves. Jamie G, I have to ask you to defend yourself. You were by far the lowest on the Dan Band. You had him at 17. Soup had him at 4. I had him at 7. Defend not loving the Dan Band. I thought they were great. The band at the wedding. I mean,
They're literally the best. There's a lot of other people that make multiple appearances or play a little bit of a bigger role. All they really do is deliver that laugh at the wedding. There's nothing consequential about it throughout the movie. So that's why I put them down a little bit lower. But dude, they're incredible. It literally makes that opening scene. You watch that and you're like, man, if I ever get remarried, I
well,
think
that's a
I'd
great
like to
moment
have
right
that in
where
my
he
band.
first starts doing it. Will Ferrell's like, Frank's not sure, and he kind of listens, and they go back to normal. He's like, okay, it's
Yeah.
normal. And then they start doing it. Just again, they've appeared in a lot of the Todd Phillips movies, but yes, very awesome there. Obviously, Artie Lang, this is kind of like, this is right around it. He was on Stern, but not quite like to the peak of his run on Stern, maybe here. And then Elisha Cuthbert, I obviously love. Soup was a little low, but I know she's a bit of a puck bunny, but one of my favorites from Happy Endings, the girl next door, very great. At 8, we have Walsh. That's Matt Walsh, another great character actor, been in a ton of things. I definitely love him in Veep. We were all pretty high on him. And then we have a couple of pledges. We have Spanish in a tie at 6 with Snoop Dogg. I don't think you can really complain. Snoop Dogg was fun, especially after the streaky bit. He's like, all right, let's get the party going again. And no one can get the party going again like Snoop Dogg. At 5, we have Weensy moving into the top 3. Probably not a big surprise. We have Barry, that's the oral sex instructor, played by Andy Dick. We're all very high on him. Maybe not as high as Wu-Tang gets. I put him at 4. Jamie G had him at 4 because personally I can't put Andy Dick in the top 3. Soup had him at 2, but I think he is deserving. At 2, I'm surprised on this one how much unanimity we have. We have Peppers. That's a character played by Sean William Scott. Jamie G had him at 2. Soup had him at 1. I had him at 3. He only has one scene. He absolutely makes the best of it. Talk about efficiency. Everything he does is funny. It's super awesome. And at 1, I guess it feels like we have to do it. Jamie G had him at 1. I had him at 1. Soup had at 3. We have Blue because
you're my boy, Blue. You're my boy.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. And I look, shout out to Peppers here because, dude.
Yes, that's awesome. What? You just took one in the jugular, man. Yes. Is this bad?
You should pull that out. That shit is not cool. Wait. Pull what out? The dart, man. Got a fucking dart in your neck. You're crazy, man. You're crazy. I like you.
Incredible scene. Like, again, another Will Ferrell scene here, but dude, the dart scene is unbelievably funny. It's hilarious.
William
It's
Scott
done
was pretty
so
hot
well.
right now. This is coming off probably the second American Pie sequel, and he's been doing it.
Yes.
So like it was probably like a favor that he jumped in here and just did this. Probably worked for one day on set or whatever to do this. So that's great. Especially we'll get into it when they actually do that. But when he's trying to revive Will Ferrell, and then Will Ferrell Frenches him and he kicks him back in the pool. So. Just shout out Juliette Lewis because she absolutely kills her. She's only in a couple scenes. We threw it in the rankings, but she is so great. Just the look on her face, especially when Mitch gets tackled by a random blindfolded naked dude. Always kind of one of my not personal fears, but not high up on my bucket list. Put it that way. In her scene in the kitchen,
Be honest. Please tell me this is the first time this has happened. Well, do you want me to be honest, or do you want me to tell you that this is the first time?
Jesus.
Yeah, she does a great job here. It's a lot of fun.
Apparently. Apparently it is a lot of fun, man.
You got to get the invite, Sue. You know,
Yeah.
you can't talk about old school without talking about Mitchapalooza. Mitch moves into his new digs, and Beanie throws him a very sick party here, complete with a Snoop Dogg show and streaking. I mean, that's nuts. What do you think, Soup? Is this your favorite sequence of the movie?
It's up there, man. I mean, it's a real good way to fucking get you in. I mean, it's not the opening scene, but it's the first like real get you and grab you kind of scene, man. And it was timed out perfectly, you know, as far as the momentum of the flick went. And yeah, I don't know if I can call it my favorite in the whole movie, but it's definitely top two.
Yeah, it sets it up well for Will Ferrell, right? For Frank's character, because you get the great scene of him working on his car, drinking the Pats. And his wife comes, shout out to Perry Reeves, who is super hot. She's Ari Gold's wife. She's Jeremy Piven's wife on Entourage. That's probably where you know her from.
Just as long as you promise to take it easy, you know?
What do you mean?
You know exactly what I mean. You've come a long way since Frank the Tank, and we don't want him coming back now, do we?
Honey, Frank the Tank is not coming back, okay? That part of me is over. It's water under the bridge. I promise.
And then you get the whole scene of him like, oh, you know, telling in Spanish, oh, we got a big Bed Bath and Beyond day or whatever improv it was that Farrell did, and then he just starts doing the funnels, and then it goes from there.
Okay, you know what? Give me that thing. Yeah, I'll do one. We gonna do one. We gonna do one. We gonna do one. Do one. Do you, baby? Oh!
That's a talented man right there. That's what I'm talking.
Fill it up again. We got it. So good. Once it hits your lips, it's so
Fill it up again.
It's just such a great progression, and I mean that streaking scene is just again absolutely fabulous. The idea that no one goes with him, not even a person. One of the best things is when he looks behind him when they pull up next to him in the minivan. He just looks and realizes no one is there.
They're coming.
Him
Nels.
getting
They're
into
coming.
the car.
It's absolutely.
They might be at the quad already. I do like that he asked if KFC was still open because I can relate to that.
Yeah, even him trying to squeeze into the car was hilarious because he goes in backwards. You know, like who does?
Oh,
that
you can
anyway?
see the actresses trying not to break up too, because you know Farrell's wearing the cock sock and everything like that. It's great. He has talked about in interviews. There was a 24-hour gym on that road where he was running, and they saw him running. And then he said that like he did one take, and the next take, all the people on those treadmills had moved. So he said he thought that meant they were doing their job right.
Absolutely.
It was great, and he does the whole. You know, you get two shots of kind of the ass there, where at the stage when he drops a mic and then getting in the car, it's legendary. But we as great as that is, we gotta point out a little Vince Vaughn action here. I mean, look, man, he's worth $3 million that the government knows about. He's got 7 locations. You gotta love his floss, his little bit of a little bit of flex here,
Dude,
dude. Vince
weird
Vaughn,
fetishes.
away
We'll
with
get into
words.
that
It was
in,
so good.
But he almost seems like the one who needs this the worst, right? Like that's great point about Vaughn. Like his character, he makes this happen. Without him,
he
none
puts
of this
the
ever
bar on,
happens.
yeah.
I mean, he brought Snoop Dogg in. Like when I
Right.
first saw this flick, he's talking about having a party. Never in my wildest dreams would it be Snoop Dogg.
Nah,
You know, it
and
takes
this
it to
is
like
terrible.
such another level that you never anticipated. And he plays that totally cool. Like I like the way he plays it throughout the flick for the most part. It's almost very consistent. He's just a dude who figured it out. He understood like the electronics market was coming up. He got in the right place at the right time, opened his own local Best Buy or whatever. But it's really cool, and it allows him to do a lot of cool stuff.
He's
Right.
worth $3 million that the government knows about. All right? He wouldn't just bring out the local freaking band here, dude. The marching band. He went big.
Yeah, that's it. I got a student alt rock band coming on stage next. Mitch, I own 6 speaker cities. I'm worth $3.5 million that the government knows about. I got more electronics up there than a damn Kiss concert. You think I'm gonna roll off that kind of red carpet for a fucking marching band?
I love Elijah Cuthbert recognizing Mitch from the poster. You're the guy from the poster. That's I would like to at least once in my life be recognized for being on a poster that didn't say most wanted at the top. Or at least wanted. Maybe most wanted's better. At least you're most wanted.
legendary
Legendary,
party,
dude. I
dude. I
mean,
mean,
it's comparable to the PCU party where George Clinton plays. You know, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, I might even think this is right up. This might even be a little bit better because it was planned. Maybe you'd go the other way with it, but the fact this would be very hard. This would require permits and a lot of things technically,
oh yeah.
usually, for Snoop Dogg to even show up. But he showed up because he wanted to play Huggy Bear in the Todd Phillips Starsky and Hutch movie. That's why he did the cameos.
Mills, it's a good thing they're surprisingly good at paperwork. After this legendary party, things definitely go downhill a bit for the guys here. Frank gets the boot. Divorce City is looming. Mitch finds out that the girl he hooked up with is his boss's daughter, who is still in high school. Very bad. At least we meet Jeremy Piven's character, although that's not really a lot more fun for us than Mitch because he tells Mitch that he's also getting the boot. What do we like here? I mean, Soup, is this Jeremy Piven a full-on Ari Gold mode, or is there still some draws from PCU in there? Or is it a mix?
I don't know, not really. Yeah, he's fucking in this movie, dude. He's cheese, dude, and I'm pretty sure he got locked in a dumpster once. But either way, man, and not a
Yeah, I
likable
wish that
character.
came back around, right? They bring it up that one time, but then they never bring it up again. I thought maybe the older brother would come into play or something. It's just never brought up again.
It never did come back around again. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, not a likable character. Definitely a dude you want to beat the shit out of, or at least punch in the face, or slam him with a brick or something like that. He's an asshole. So I mean,
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow? I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
And then the whole bit where they, I guess you could say recruit or kidnap the pledges is spectacular. That is great use of Metallica when they come in the van and they grab them all and everything. So that is really a bunch of fun, and it opens us up to the idea that all these different kinds of dudes are going to be in the fraternity. It's not just the college kids. This is going to somehow be for everyone, and it makes it feel, I guess, a little more communal and easy for everyone to get into than something more specific like Animal House. We have to get invited to get a bid to pledge and that kind of thing.
yeah,
Mills,
I did like
you
that.
make a really good point here because I really like the fact that the kidnapping scene or the recruiting scene in the black van, it really showcases kind of who the main players are going to be that are going to stick around, and you get the college kids, and then you get the older, the older crowd here. And I love Will Ferrell scene where if you say anything, we'll kill you. Just kidding, we'll have him back by dinner. But it just was really great to see kind of that mix of like. And I think that made it funny, right? It's one thing to take a college kid from campus, but it's another thing to take an adult loading groceries in the parking lot of a supermarket.
The whole, abduction or roundup of these guys to be in the fraternity was great. The only thing I didn't like about it was the ridiculous amount of reckless driving, man. And I'm not a big fan of the reckless driving, man. It's
There was
dangerous.
big A-team action right there because of the van.
Yeah.
Man, you remember the A-team had the van and the black van. It doesn't have the red trim, but it's a black van. I mean, good stunt driving. I like that. It was
Yeah.
definitely good practical. Nowadays, that might be CGI or kind of bullshit. And I should point out, we get one of the first of many, I shouldn't say many, but at least a few Fight Club references in the flick, where Mitch is photocopying the flyers at work and the guys catch him and they want to get in on it and everything like that. That's the first of at least 2 to 4 Fight Club references here. So it's not just a college movie, definitely getting a couple of Fight Club references.
That's interesting. And now I recognize that. And I knew it from something. And yes, absolutely Fight Club. I want to know what I got to look back now and see what the other couple might
Yeah, it's
be.
even the fighting in the basement, the KY wrestling in the basement is another one. There's a couple in here that are kind of subtle. When you go to the restaurant and the guy gives them the free food,
Oh,
calls
okay.
him the
Yeah,
Godfather. There's a few, they're kind of subtle, but definitely a few Fight Club references,
yeah, now I can see it. Yeah.
which adds to the Godfather bit. You know what I mean? Why it's kind of like a brilliant, that works all around. It's definitely a movie that's made up of parts of a lot of other movies, but it does, a lot of movies try to do that, and this does it better than most. Good casting too. Shout out all the pledges. They're all a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody crushed it, man.
Yeah, and it added the comedic need that it needed from Blue to Weensy and age and youth and all that blended together. I thought it was just done really well. Acting was great. Writing was
You know
was
what? We
perfect.
forgot one terribly important thing. I'm sorry. When Mitch is moving in, Nicole shows up and she gives him a present. It's a CD tower. That is the moving in present. It's a CD tower, which Bernard's like, yeah, no, that's not even a good one. We stopped selling that, which leads
Oh,
to
we shot it
Will
down.
Ferrell coming out with the doll.
Okay, that sounds
Hey, what do you guys
fun.
like better, nurse or cheerleader? Oh, hi, Nicole.
So I think we have to know, what do you like better, nurse or cheerleader? I'm going nurse, but that might be a Kill Bill thing, and just a Daryl Hannah in general, whatever. I'm going nurse. Jamie G, nurse or cheerleader? Don't think, just answer, nurse or cheerleader.
Nurse, but I do love that when everyone's leaving, Will Ferrell just waves her little hand. That's just classic.
Dude, nurse or cheerleader?
I mean,
There are no,
I'm going.
there are no
I'm
wrong answers.
Yeah, I'm going nurse, man. I'm going nurse just because I know a nurse is 18 plus, man. So
Yeah, we're not just being, contrarian to be contrarian. Yeah, we don't need the cheerleaders, but we also don't need the CD tower. That is just such a relic of the time, because I remember both being gifted and gifting a CD tower.
doesn't even have 3 speeds, man.
And then you get the CDs that had the cases that were too thick and they wouldn't go into the tower. That was the worst.
Right? Yeah.
They would be like cool cases. I remember like Pearl Jam's Versus was one. There was a 9 Inch Nails album, and they would not go into the
Downward
CD
spiral,
cases.
something, anything with like an extra something on
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
right?
where you had like the trifold, or there was like the extra booklet insert or whatever. We have a lot to say about CD towers.
I will say that was just one of several good gifts. We did get to see a great couple of gifts by Frank with the Oster toaster, dude. It's got 3 speeds. Absolutely hilarious. But
Yeah, it's a great runner, yeah, which comes back to the first time here, yeah, and then it comes back again. So that's a great runner with the exact same bread maker. And that was a thing for a minute. People, honestly, it's just cheaper to buy bread.
it is.
They
It
even did
is.
that on the bear, literally. They could use Marcus in a better way.
And I think we probably have to discuss the scene with Barry here, the oral instructor. This was a crazy scene, and one of the wildest parts about it is that Andy Dick wasn't playing himself.
Very good. 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 Not so good. Please, what are you doing? You're not Romulus sucking on the teats of the mother wolf, if you know your Greek mythology. Ladies, we are getting head here. We're not breastfeeding from a mythological beast.
You know what, man? I thought this scene was fucking hilarious, man. It's one of the funnier scenes in the movie all around.
Best Andy Dick scene ever, I'd say, maybe. Best Andy
They
Dick
got
scene
carrots
ever.
and cucumbers and shit, man. And then of course when he walks up and sees the shit through the window and just the visuals there and all that, and the fight, and all that. I mean, the whole scene's great. But one thing about this situation is anytime I never can hear Hungry Like the Wolf and not think about it, man. Hungry Like the Wolf comes on, I'm thinking about Andy Dick sucking a
Great
carrot.
needle drop. Again, you give it up to the flick. They do use some popular shit, but they drop it in an excellent fashion. That I
Or
don't
is it
care
Andy
that I've
Carrot
heard it a
sucking
million
his dick?
times.
I don't know.
I mean, dude, you can use a little teeth. Just don't be a biter.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most Andy Dick roll ever, I would think. I mean, it just is perfect. The wide variety of vegetables is awesome. You have they all have very distinctive different things, although technically a banana is a fruit, right? So it's and not all the vegetables. Like a cool note, he talks about giving his dog herpes. That's actually Todd Phillips, the director's dog that he's holding on to in the scene.
Nice. Good little Easter egg there. Did not know that.
Yeah, and I'm sure this is a lot of improv from Andy Dick. I'm sure. I'm curious to what was left on the cutting room floor. Like if you look, you can see Perry Reeves, who plays Marissa, at one point just trying not to lose her shit when he's going off on the come on, ladies, these vegetables aren't going to ejaculate themselves.
Right.
There's just some solid, just you know that there had to be 25 versions of that, right? I'm just curious what else there was, but that was a very good one because he's not wrong.
Not wrong.
Imagine walking into that, dude. Crouching tiger, hidden penis, just like that.
Right.
And the worst part is at the very end when Andy Dick clocks Frank over the head with the cast iron joint. His wife comes in and asks Andy Dick's character if he's okay.
Right.
Jesus Christ, Frank! What the hell are you doing here?
You know this person?
I am so sorry. Are you hurt?
Yes, I'm hurt.
Imagine laying there like, oh yeah, my marriage is definitely over.
Yeah, Frank's got a swollen eye and she's worried about him. Just Andy Dick's character, just really quick. They could not have cast it to anybody other than Andy Dick. It was absolutely perfect for that. The wig, the outfit, the music.
Best Andy Dick performance ever. I don't know about News Radio or whatever. I haven't seen all the episodes, but yeah, short of his police videos, I haven't watched all of them, but this is best.
We also shouldn't skip over the birthday party that Beanie throws for his kid. I think Max. It's the only scene we get from Sean William Scott, and again, this one is super memorable. Is it not, Soup?
Oh, absolutely, man. It's one of the best scenes in the whole movie, man. Top 2 or 3, you know.
Vince Vaughn looks great as a clown, doesn't he, dude? Look at Vince Vaughn. Just
Does
great
a good
clown.
clown, man, especially with a cigarette and a beer, you know? I mean, it's not the same if he's straight edge clown. With a cigarette and a beer, you know, that's awesome.
You mentioned it before. This is the second regifting of the bread maker. How awesome is it that Frank tries to give it to Beans' 6-year-old son, and then all the guys are just looking at him like, no, dude.
This is so good because he brings it up and he's like being like the fun, like step uncle or whatever. He's like,
How you doing, bud?
What a day.
I guess we could open just Uncle Frank's, but we gotta wait for the others, all right? I don't want this to start a whole thing. Okay, Max?
Frank or Max?
Rip it up, go at it there. What is it? What could it be? Could it be a spaceship? Let's see what we got. Fun,
Yay! What do you think, Max? Huh? It's got 3 speeds.
so funny, dude. This is legendary. It's hilarious. It probably does have 3 speeds, but super funny that it's the gift for a 7-year-old. Just yes, Frank's in his robe and the whole thing. Yeah, dude, really good stuff.
Yeah, we definitely need to mention John William Scott, who obviously just absolutely kills it, as we saw in our Friends of the Family rankings. Just perfect. You know, he was real big at this time, coming off the American Pies and whatnot. I feel like this was around the Rundown, maybe Bulletproof Monk. Still, he was doing a lot of work. I really enjoyed him. Obviously, we love him as Country Mac when he shows up on Always Sunny. That's season 9, I believe. But I think this is just a great scene. Again, peak Will Ferrell, and then when he falls in the pool, you get the sound of silence. Again, great needle drop. So everything about this, I think, is pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Stifler there, man, just his reaction to when he to when he shoots it, like his facials and his like just entire reaction to the whole thing is played like he just crushed it.
He
Dude.
describes how deadly this dart is. It's just how bad you don't want to touch it.
At first, he didn't have anything to say. He was like, "What? You just what?" He's like, "Yes." You know, I mean, it was awesome. Like, everything about it was just top notch, man.
I can't because I'm a
really
Venture
was.
Brothers guy. Like the pirate captain there is addicted to trank, so he would definitely have been super jealous that this dude got all that free trank. But
What has gotten into you?
Sweet tranquilizer dart, that's what.
that's a lot of trank and great physical acting by Will Ferrell when he kind of falls through the table and gets up with the chair and everything, and just doing all the.
Dude, the when he tries to get up and his arms are through the chairs and stuff, and he's like, dude, so funny, dude. Like, oh my god, incredible the way they film this, slowing him down and just the destruction that he causes. Stifler here is hilarious, and shout out to the dart because I don't know if he's wearing a rubber thing around his neck here or not, but that thing is in, dude. And just the transgression of Will Ferrell not realizing what he did to realizing what he did to hitting the effects of it is so funny, man. And I like you. You're crazy.
Yeah, it's an interesting effect because they
like
slow down the audio, but they leave the video at normal speed. Usually, you
Really
would
cool.
slow down the video too, so it's just it's something you're not used to seeing, but it gives you the effect you're looking for. And I thought it worked really well.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, and I guess we should just mention the weird flirting with Mitch and Nicole still. This is my least favorite plot line in the movie, but you get the whole bit where he talks about being intimidated about her because she wore the Whitesnake jacket and smoked Marlboro Reds. Mitch doesn't get a lot of moments in the movie. That was at least one of the little better ones. And I loved Ellen Pompeo. She was fun, but that whole plot line was my least favorite. But it is a big part here. The whole subplot with her boyfriend being a dick, Craig Kilborn. That whole thing.
Apparently, she still has the white snake jacket, so that's cool.
I'd like to see her wear it.
There might still be a pack of smokes in it too.
Dean Pritchard goes full Ari Gold here, bribes the student council president to kick the fraternity off campus. And we should talk about all of that. We should. But don't you think that we forgot about Blue?
Sir, yes, sir. Blue, you're my boy! Thank you, sir. But it's an emergency.
We can only buy KY jelly in the 4-ounce tubes. Industrial-sized cans will take up to 3 to 4 business days minimum, so we're screwed.
Everything about that is great. That scene in the office, again, I'm not a huge fan of the plot line between Mitch and Nicole, but when the guys show up there, like, we have an emergency and that's the emergency, that always gets a chuckle out of me, 100%. What do y'all think?
Oh, absolutely, man. It's just another one of those, like, you kind of should know better. There's a couple of these moments in the movie where, like, why would somebody bring these? Do you not like read the room? And that's what it is. But either way, yeah, kind of hilarious. This one, this particular situation plays into the humor of it, and it's definitely hilarious. So, all good. They only had a bag. They only had a bag about the size of dude, so
Not a lot of reading the room in the movie, but I think it's probably better for it overall. I mean, we could probably spend all day trying to figure out where they actually got the KY because that sounded like a real problem. Again, we kind of talked about this was a little bit of a Fight Club reference where they're doing the fights in the basement and no one's going to talk about it. Not the worst way to die, right? We love you, Blue. You're our boy.
yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with
I
that.
could go
Dude.
out that way. I mean, I wish I would have at least gotten one Cobra Clutch in or something, but
Yeah, it'd have been nice to make contact, but that's still not a bad way.
A pretty cozy way out, as far as I'm concerned, man.
right, at least go out in the clutch, right? So you're like, you're even. You died while super winning, but I mean, Blue is great. He nails it. It's cool they bring him back again in the post credit singer there, doing the dust in the wind. I love that he's got the can of Corona, which is called back. I believe Frank has that in the very end of his kind of stinger too.
Yeah, and just shout out to the way Pritchard does the whole thing with the student. Don't turn around. They got in the stadium.
And they're all wearing
eh,
black. Him and the dude are wearing black, and he, just lying being full Jeremy Piven. That is great.
Yeah, he's got the hat on and everything. Yeah, definitely,
The thing that
definitely a
gets me
cool
is,
scene.
like, she knows who he is, so what's all
Right,
the
she's just looking at her like around. She puts on her tennis thing.
yeah, I know who you are, dude. I mean, whatever.
And I guess we should mention Will Ferrell just singing the Dust in the Wind. That's always a good time.
The way it starts, just a close up on him. Yeah, he nails it,
The
dude.
great You're My
And
Boy Blue, the really heartfelt, then he gets immediately divorced after that. So
Yeah, it's heavy, man. It's a touching moment.
after Pritchard kicks the guys out via a recorded video message, for some reason the guys panic for a bit and then decide to step up and save the day. In addition to Animal House, Revenge of the Nerds, and Fight Club, the writers have also seen Billy Madison and Back to School. So the final act of the movie involves the guys doing a bunch of assorted college activities, but Pritchard fixed the contest, which it's totally obvious because there's no beer pong competition. I mean, come on, we're totally missing it. And we all know you can't attend college, much less join a fraternity if you've got subpar beer pong skills. You got to be able to hit it, right, Soup?
Yeah, or back in my day, it was more quarters and asshole, but beer pong's the thing, also. So yeah, you got to have that.
spoken like a bouncer, dude. I bet he's a bouncer.
And this is hilarious. Just from the opening one where they bring out Jim Carvell, it was long term politician, former Marine, retired Marine, just awesome dude. Bring him out, and they get this whole thing where it's like a high complex situation, and all of a sudden Frank just interrupts him. He's like, "I'd like to run with this one."
What is your position on the role of government in supporting innovation in the field of biotechnology?
Well, Dean, I'm glad that you asked that question.
Actually, I'd like to jump in and take that one, Jimmy, if you don't mind.
I think we're done. Have at it, Hoss.
Recent research has shown that empirical evidence for globalization of corporate innovation is very limited. And as a corollary, the market for technologies is shrinking. As a world leader, it's important for America to provide systematic research grants for our scientists. I believe strongly there will always be a need for us to have a well-articulated innovation policy with emphasis on human resource development. Thank you.
He nails it and then comes out of it and he's like, I blacked out. So funny, man. You gotta love classic Will Ferrell here.
There are a bunch of good ones in here. I love that they, recruit Artie Lang and Matt Walsh. That Mitch recruits his coworkers, tells Terry O'Quinn off, and then he's got them as the guys in the van when they have the earpieces. They set this all up right. This is good writing. Like Vince Vaughn's character owns the Speaker City joint, so they have all this technology. Just the synchronization when they get the answer and they all touch their ears and they all write it down at the same time is just fantastic. It's so obvious, obviously he's trying to whisper the answers into it, the microphone in his shirt and everything. I don't really care that it's obvious because it's so much fun.
You gotta love him winking at Piven, being like, "Good test." Super funny. That's great.
Vince Vaughn having to do the rings and trying to do it while he's smoking the cigarette is great because he's always
Yeah.
smoking throughout the entire movie. So that's kind of a nice payoff to that runner where he's finally like, oh shit, he can't keep it going, and he spits out the stone.
And
or
great
whatever.
music here too. The
Yeah, using the
song
Chariots of
that's
Fire
playing,
joint. Yeah, that's from
yeah,
Chariots of Fire.
it starts with Frank and then it goes with Vince Vaughn here. Another great use of the
Right, and then we
needle
get
drop.
we see the big dude doing the vault, which is obviously, which I thought would have been the most memorable, but still pretty memorable.
Very memorable,
Ended
just
up pulling
because
like
it.
a double. Yeah, ended up pulling like a double flip and landing it
Yeah,
too.
just
So I
close
mean,
your
that was a
eyes
little
and
bit.
see what happens.
Yeah, just go for it, man. There you go. You never know, man.
That's all you gotta
You
do.
gotta love that he's like, it's scientifically impossible.
And they're like, "Don't worry, dude's back there to spot you." It's just like this little dude, little dude's back there to spot you, man. You'll be all right.
That's basically it for the major stuff here. How'd you guys like the ending? Mills, what do you think of how they wrap things up? Was it sufficient for you?
I think it was fine. This is not something I really needed a sequel for. It's kind of a little bit hardcore. Maybe that they had Craig Kilborn's character drive off the bridge and kill Dean Pritchard, but I'm cool with it. It went a little bit extra, but I like that. It's fine. I think it's probably a perfect ending for Frank the Tank, especially when he meets Heidi in the grocery store and he's all excited, and great way to go out on again. Great use of the soundtrack. So I don't really have a problem with it. I think it's kind of how it had to end, and I'm glad it ended that way. Soup, what do you think? You like the ending?
Yeah, I think it worked, man. I mean, everything worked out well for everybody pretty much, except for Pritchard and damn Mark over there. But you know, everything else seemed to fall into place. So it was kind of like the ideal ending for a movie as far as storyline went. Everybody got there what they wanted, kind of. So it's pretty cool. I like a
Those
story
dudes
like that.
upgraded to a much bigger house. I'll say that. I wonder where all that stuff came from in Mitch's house. Like, I have questions at the peak of the fraternity. How many dudes were living in that house? But we'll save that for another day. That's a lot of math.
There isn't a better ending in any universe for Frank the Tank. And you watch him throughout this whole movie, and we talked about, yeah, there's funny parts without him, but his moments are by far the most memorable and most funny throughout this movie. And it's so perfect to see him, on the radio, and you get the feeling that he takes over as head of it. He was head of the frat and stuff. I mean, with the drop down and give me 20, like, he's awesome, dude. Like, it's just a perfect ending for Frank the Tank. And I think that's what's so cool about this is they blended this whole mindset of, all right, we're going to go and we're going to relive our 20s while in our 30s, and it's crazy. And then, Mitch kind of goes on and does the responsible thing. But Frank wasn't ready for that, and he gets to continue to live it. That's the cool about this. We're all feeling in a festive mood after watching Old School, so we decided to offer the Soup Deucer an Old School special to earn another sponge. Soup, we asked you to give us some sort of crossover or mashup of something here that incorporates both Frank the Tank and Frank Reynolds. Soup, what do you have for us?
All right. Well, a bunch of shit crossed my mind thinking about this, man. And, obviously I had thought about, the two characters in a movie together or something like that. It could be cool. Not what I'm going to go with. Thought about a restaurant. theming around this kind of thing. Also could be cool. But what I ultimately am going to decide on is something you would find in a store right there by the paintball guns, probably something called Frank the Rum Ham Tank. Now, this is a device that you buy, and it's like a tank shaped like a rum ham, and it's got voice activated. You know how back in the day you'd buy like a toy, like a transformer or something. You could push a button and say, or do something. Or I'm saying Transformers didn't speak, but some of the toys spoke. You push a button and then it'd be like a quote from Frank the Tank, or a quote from Frank Reynolds. But the good thing about this, or the main thing about this, is that it shoots out either shots of rum or bits of ham. So you got your rum and your ham, and then you got a toy to play with, and you got good quotes from both characters, man. So that's my idea there. I didn't have time to build a prototype for this or even draw a picture, but the idea's in the head. So there we are.
I think it's worth developing. That's great. It would be awesome to
Don't tell nobody else.
Yeah, I mean, it's like putting a shot in a gun. I mean, we've seen the Patty's folk try to figure out how to properly deliver alcohol. I mean, why not rum in a tank?
So you think you're sponge-worthy?
Yes, I think I'm sponge-worthy. I think I'm very sponge-worthy. You know you're nuts with these sponges.
Run down your case for me again.
She said I wasn't sponge-worthy. Wouldn't waste a sponge on me.
It's sponge-worthy, and in honor of Elaine Bennis, creator of the second greatest system of all time, we always determine if our featured review is sponge-worthy. Mills, give us an update on the current sponge supply, and tell us if you think Old School is in fact sponge-worthy.
Right now, I have 3.5 sponges. You have 5.75 sponges, Jamie G, and the soup juicer has 1 sponge. I am going to use one of my 3.5 sponges on this one. Yes, it is sponge worthy. Jamie G, how about yourself? I'm assuming you can spare a sponge.
No matter what the sponge supply is, yes, Old School is sponge worthy. This is legendary, epic, timeless, hilarious comedy that is just so fun, that will live forever. That's always fun to watch. Yeah, 100% sponge worthy.
Nice. How about you, Sue?
Well, I find myself in the situation almost every week. I can't get a leg up here or a sponge up, because I'll get a sponge and then I'm like, man, I can't not give this movie. This movie's definitely sponge worthy, man. So I'm gonna spend my sponge on this movie, but at least I had the sponge to spend. So there we go, man. Thank you, Rum Tank Hank. Frank's Rum Ham Tank. Yeah.
That's all you need, dude. I mean, you got to keep grinding out sponges in this economy, this day and age. You're lucky if you get
treading water, man. I'm treading sponge water, dude.
That's it, dude. That's the life. Sponge water all day. Soup water, sponge water. It's all the same.
Well, get out your space wallets, because it's time to give a grade to Old School. We grade everything we watch on a scale of 0 to 100 space bucks. Soup, how many space bucks are you throwing down here and giving to Old School? You my boy, Blue.
Well, I'm giving Old School a solid 91 space bucks, man. This is a good movie. It's a good rewatcher. It's solid. There's really nothing wrong with it, man. It's worth 91 space bucks to me, man. I'll take it.
That's of fair value. I am right there in the universe. I'm going to go 88 space bucks. It's not quite the amount I asked for food, gas, and tolls or whatever. Right in the universe, though. I feel 88 space bucks. Very fair. Held up well. Not perfect, but enjoyed it a lot. Jamie G, how about yourself? Give us some space bucks.
Higher than both you guys. I'm giving this 96 space bucks. It's so fun to watch. It has laugh out loud moments. It's some of the best performances of 4, 5, 6 different great big actors and actresses. It's fantastic. It's up there, man. 96 space bucks all day. Glad to spend it.
All day, like he's in the back of the house with Sid and Richie yelling at him.
Got you all day.
Got to give it all day, dude.
Before what we're watching next time, it's time for the questions 3.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
3 questions. What if you get a question wrong? Then you are cast into the gorge of eternal peril.
Ask me the questions. I am not afraid.
And we shall watch and pray.
All right. This is the questions 3, and here's how it works. I have written questions for the Soup Deucer and Jamie G. The questions number 3. Contestants get 1 point for a correct answer. Whoever gets the most points wins. The writer of the questions reserves the right to award a half a point based on the answer. In the event of a tie, we have a tiebreaker question. The winner gets a sponge, as do I for writing the questions. Gentlemen, if you wish to cross the bridge of death, you must answer me these questions. 3. Jamie G, you are up first. This is a question that has many answers, so multiple answers could be correct. Name a 1990 sitcom or show that Jeremy Piven guest starred in, appeared on, whatever. Again, like I said, multiple answers.
I don't know that 90s he had his own, but I know for a fact he made a guest appearance on Ellen.
Jamie G says Ellen. All right. Question 2. And not only is Will Ferrell a prolific actor, he's also a prolific producer as well. In fact, he's produced multiple shows for HBO that we enjoy. Big time executive producer. Name on the title card. Jamie G, name one of those HBO series Will Ferrell has executive produced.
Dude, Succession, and thank you, Will Ferrell.
Jamie G says Succession. And question 3, you probably know Craig Kilborn best from his Sports Center role, but he also appeared in a movie starring 2 of your guys, Rob Schneider and David Spade. What movie was that?
The only thing that's popping in my head right now is the Shaggy Dog. I don't think that's it, but I'm going to go with it.
All right, the Shaggy Dog. Moving on to the Soup. Soup, your first question is, name a Robert Rodriguez movie that Jeremy Piven has appeared in. There are at least 2 correct right answers.
Holy shit. I can't go Desperado. Okay, I'm gonna say the Grindhouse flick Planetaire. Yes, Planetaire. That's good.
All right, question 2. Which musical act, could be band, singer, whatever, I don't want to be too specific, did Will Ferrell appear in multiple music videos for?
Yeah, you need I don't Dan Band.
And question 3. Despite apparently not being known as a comedic actor before Old School, Vince Vaughn appeared in 2 well-known comedy shows in the 1990s. Soup, I know you know both of these shows. Name one of them.
I'm gonna go with Mr. Show.
Soup says Mr. Show. All right, that is 3 answers. So it brings us to the first question. Jamie G, I asked you to name a show that Jeremy Piven appeared on in the 90s. You said Ellen. You said guest star, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, he appeared on a lot of episodes. Ellen, you got that one. The first question I asked Soup was to name a Robert Rodriguez movie that Jeremy Piven appeared in. He said the Grindhouse, the Planetary section. The correct 2 answers were either Spy Kids 4, All the Time in the World, or what I thought you would get, Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, where he played Bob. I thought that was the one you would get. I thought that was the one you would get. Question 2 for Jamie G. I asked you to name a series that Will Ferrell executive produced from HBO. You said Succession. That was correct. You could have also said Eastbound and Down. Would have accepted either of those answers. Soup, question 2. I asked you which musical act did Will Ferrell appear in multiple music videos for. It was actually the Beastie Boys, dude. It was he did Fight for the You're Right Revisited and Make Some Noise. Both of those were done in the kind of late aughts, early 2010s, kind of as the retrospective they did there. Jamie G, I asked you name another flick, or at least a flick, where Craig Kilborn appeared with your guys, Rob Schneider and David Spade. You said the Shaggy Dog. The correct answer was the Benchwarmers. And finally, Soup, I asked you, despite not apparently being known as a comedic actor before Old School, name a comedy series Vince Vaughn appeared on in the 90s. You said Mr. Show. That is correct. The other one was the Larry Sanders Show.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. Nice.
But unfortunately, that means Jamie G takes it down 2 points to 1 point. Very good.
That's unfortunate.
Because you have more sponges than him. He needs the sponges worse than you, my friend. Not hating on you, but you have more sponges than any of us.
Barely scraping by here, man.
This man, I mean,
Sorry, Sue.
if he wants to get laid, he's in trouble here. He has to do a calculation first.
Spent my sponge
You
on
can
old
just be
school.
willy-nilly everywhere, procreating all over the streets without remorse.
One day I will flourish in sponges.
Good stuff though. That was a good time. Congratulations to Jamie G. But I thought everybody probably had a little bit of fun. Maybe you learned a little bit something, and maybe we should check out the Sin City movies again sometime, or Grindhouse. All
For
those
sure.
things are fun. Neither of which I've checked out really recently, and it sounds like a good time.
We're trying to get to a movie.
You better get going. You don't want to miss 1 second of that movie. Is it that good? It's the best goddamn movie I've ever seen in my life. Dude hangs dumb.
I
missed that.
It's that time when we figure out what we're going to watch next. We know that we're going to be doing a Seinfeld episode, but we just don't know which one. We each picked 4 episodes and put them on a wheel. Get ready for Wheel of Seinfeld.
All right. For the record, Jamie G selected The Dealership, The Bookstore, The Merv Griffin Show, and The Maid. The Soup Deucer selected The Couch, The Contest, The Implant, and The Junior Mint. I selected The Chicken Roaster, The Opposite, The Comeback, and The Race. Now, pause for safe and identification while we set up the wheel.
At Speaker City, we're slashing prices on everything from DVD players to camcorders and everything in between. Our courteous staff will educate you on a wide selection of state-of-the-art home theater equipment and accessories. Show us a competitive price. We'll beat it.
All right. Who is ready for the wheel of
I'm ready, man.
Seinfeld? We're spinning it. Whatever wins, we're doing. That's how it works. One spin. No bullshit. Here we go.
Let's do it.
Spinning the wheel of the Seinfeld. Keeps on turning. Chicken roaster. The opposite. I can mess with the opposite, dude. That is a high-end George Costanza episode, right in the prime of Seinfeld. I've often tried to do that in my life. I've not implemented the system as well as George Costanza, but I feel it's a good system worth doing. Any of y'all have any thoughts on the opposite?
Yeah, quick breakdown on the premise of that, like a quick 2-sentence,
George automatically assumes that, or at least I should say, George figures out that everything he keeps doing is wrong. So the correct answer must obviously do the opposite. So he starts approaching, attractive women, doing things and just doing the opposite of whatever he would normally do, and it works. It's very entertaining. It's a fun one. Jamie G, any thoughts on the opposite?
Yeah, I'm pumped for it. Again, a classic George Costanza episode here. He really carries it. Excited to break this one down. I want to do each and every one on that wheel. I'll just say that.
Yeah, there's no really wrong answers when it comes to doing Seinfeld. I think we would all pretty much do any episode of Seinfeld.
Thank you guys for checking out Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. We hope that you enjoyed the episode. If you have any thoughts, any feedback, what was your favorite stuff? We'd love to hear it. Slide into these DMs. Get at me on the social medias. I will respond. Mills, remind everyone where they can find us.
Thank you, sir. This has been a Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Find us on social media at Dudes Watch Stuff. Same place on the web, dudeswatchstuff.com. Thank you for not forgetting that. And thank you for not forgetting the flaps. Follow, like, and please subscribe. It's got all the letters. It's got all the fun. So please remember, hit that thumb. I'm Meg Mills. He's Jamie G. That's a Soup Deucer. We've had fun. We hope you had fun. All the fun stuff.
Thanks again for checking out Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. We're just dudes being dudes, talking about the dude.
Every now and then I get a little bit terrified. I see the fucking look in your eye.